Good morning, friends. How are you? It's Will Falzone coming to you from the Arizona East Valley Sourdough Foundation. Today is going to be part one of the iconic Italian bread series. Today we'll be making a focaccia. Uh, this focaccia is going to be made using the recipe, using starting point of the recipe for pan de cristal, the Spanish glass bread. So, as is our way here at the Sourdough Foundation, we like to experiment. So, I'm using this very high hydration dough, which the original recipe calls for 100% hydration to make an Italian focaccia. So the name I came up with is, in Italian, Focaccia Spagnola alla I can't say it. So let's let this gentleman say it for us. No, Pugliese. So it's Italian focaccia in the style of Puglia. Okay? So anyway, be that as it may, this formula, the Puglia focaccias use durum wheat flour. So we switched out the King Arthur 12% protein bread flour, and I went even higher with both. I went with Sir Lancelot, King Arthur Sir Lancelot flour at 14% protein, 85%. To that, I added 15% of General Mills extra fancy durum wheat, which is a fine bread flour type, finely ground, not OO. Let's call it number one in the Italian numbering system. Number one durum wheat flour. In Italy, they would call it semolina remicinata, twice ground semolina. Okay, so let me lower this a little so you can see what's going on here. The first thing we did, and also I raised the hydration. Since I raised the protein of the flours, I raised the hydration all the way up to 110%. Okay? So where we are now, I mixed the flours and water in a bowl. Since these high protein flours, especially the semolina, they absorb a lot of water, but it takes time. You want to give them time to absorb the water properly. So I did an autolyse. I mixed the flours, which is 501 grams of flour, 426 of the Sir Lancelot bread flour, and 75 grams of the semolina flour. And I mixed that with the water. To come up with 110% hydration, that's 552 grams of water. Okay, so I did that. I mixed them together. After an hour, I incorporated the yeast, which is only 0.5% yeast, and the salt, which is your normal 2% of salt. So that comes out to 2.5 grams of yeast and 10 grams of salt. After that, now I put it in the pan. I transferred it from the bowl to the pan. This is a 9 by 13 pan. You can see all the beautiful bubbles in there. It's looking good already. I mean, it's very, very weak. It's almost a little stronger than a batter. I'm going to need some water, which I didn't get ready, of course. All right, so let's just get a little bit of water for my fingers. I don't want to put too much water, and I also have this plastic scraper also. I'm going to use this to loosen it off the sides. I'm going to wet my fingers in case I need to put my fingers in there. So using this plastic scraper, the next step is we're just going to do a bowl fold. Of course, it's not in a bowl, it's in a pan, but we're going to use the same technique. So we're loosening it from this side. I'm going to put my wet fingers in here, and I'm just going to lift it and drop it. Not going crazy. Turn it 180 degrees. Let's do the same exact thing. Okay? We're going to loosen it. Okay? And now we're going to lift it and drop it. Nicely done, Will. Now we're going to turn it 90 degrees. Wet my fingers. Loosen this off the sides. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lift it up and drop it. Nicely done. Except I went too far. Okay. Now we're going to turn it to the other end that hasn't been done yet. It's not sticking to my hands too bad, actually. It's not too bad. But it is very loose. There's no denying that. We're going to build some strength. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's loosen it from this last side. Let's lift it. We don't want to pull it too much to break it and then drop it down. That's it. We're going to leave it just like that. If you come back in 20 minutes, we'll do a few coil folds on this stuff. All right. So actually, you're going to come back I'm going to do 3 coil folds. And then for the last 4th coil fold, I'll turn the video back on and we'll do a video and you'll see the last coil fold and transfer it into the bigger pan. Okay? Actually, I'm sorry, this isn't 9 by 13. This one, the bottom of this one is 9 by 13. This one's much smaller. It's 11 by, let me see if I can find it. It's 11 by 7. This is just my mix, in parentheses, mixing bowl. And then we'll move it into the baking pan right here, which the bottom of this, it flares up a little. I wish it was straight, but it's not. It's 9 by 13. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to cover this. I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes. I'm going to do a couple of 3 coil folds with 20-minute rests in between, and then we'll talk about what's next.